take off. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mission Ready Translating NCL Experience into Real-World Impact event. I'm Emily Calandranis, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this awesome event. This is going to be hosted by Costis Toregas, the treasurer of the NCL board, and we have some fantastic NCL former players and coaches that are going to be joining us as well. A couple of housekeeping items that if you're in our audience, please feel free to share where you're watching from, and feel free to also ask questions and interact with each other. We're hopeful that this event is going to be not only very informative, but really entertaining for you to really be able to connect with those throughout the NCL community. Once again, if you have any questions or if you would like to just share, please feel free to go ahead and put it in the comments, and we will do our best to get to those questions throughout the presentation. All right, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go backstage, but we're going to bring on Costis Toregas, who is going to navigate you through the conversation with our awesome NCL players and coaches.
Thanks, Emily, and welcome to everyone. I'm Costis Toregas. Emily mentioned that I'm on the National Cyber League Board of Directors. I'm the treasurer of the organization, and I'm very happy to welcome you to this event. It's the first of several this week, Spirit Week, as many of you know. So without further ado, I wanted to ask each of our panelists to say a few things about themselves. First, your name, your position in your company, and the last time you ever played NCL. And then if you can sneak in a memory from NCL's experiences. And then we'll go into the real world and how your experiences with NCL might have impacted. So name, position of the organization, a memory of NCL. Who wants to go first?
I can go ahead and kick us off. Hi, my name is Alexander Roll. I'm a senior information security consultant at Keller Schroeder. With that, been with the company about 4 years now. One of the fondest memories I have of the NCL was doing a steganography problem, which entailed taking pixel coordinates and reverse engineering it to create a hidden message. Spun my wheels on that one for a good bit of time, but when I got it, it was very rewarding. So
great. When was the last time you played NCL?
I think 2016. So about coming up on 10 years. So it's
wow.
been a little bit. Yep.
Thanks for that, Alex. Let's get going. Eric, why don't you go next?
Alrighty. Hello, my name is Eric Ravel. I work for Deutsche Bank here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm an assistant vice president, and I work on the malware team as a malware analyst. Last time I played NCL was about 5 years ago, around 2020. And I really remember the team competitions being my favorite part of the season each time. Not just because you got to work with people, but you got to put your heads together and come out with answers quicker, potentially. There was a lot of strategy behind competing as a team, and it really kind of paved the way for the entry into how it would be like on a SOC team in the future. And one of my memorable competition memories was when I was having to use it was cryptography, I believe, and I was having to use like a Futurama alphabet to figure out how to decrypt a password. And it was very interesting that the competition went to that length to make the competition very fun. And it was a very good experience overall.
Great. Thanks for that, Eric. Let's go to Dan. He's nodding his head. He's ready for it. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Dan Perez. I'm a cybersecurity engineer. Last time I participated in the NCL was spring of last year, fairly recent. And I would say my favorite memory from NCL was challenging myself to do something brand new. I've learned so many things in theoretical, but it was password cracking. So a lot of hands-on with Hashcat. That was very memorable. I got a lot of points in that category, and that's something that stuck with me, and it was pretty neat. Definitely a great experience.
Great. Thanks, Dan. And last but not least, Jeff.
Hi, my name is Jeff Handy. I work for St. Petersburg College. I'm a tech support guy, and I also am the advisor for our cybersecurity teams as well as the club. So I've never actually been a participant of NCL. I was only introduced to it by our previous advisor, Julia Meyer, and one of our instructors, Laura Malave, who's also serves a part in NCL as well. So I'm hoping to bring some of the NCL content to the classroom. I feel like that's our next natural progression.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. And with that, let's now turn our attention to the promise of the event itself. We promised to take NCL into the workplace and find out what the impact of NCL is in the workplace. So maybe we'll keep the same rotation. Alexander, I'll ask you, you're now working. Are there moments when you said, damn, I remember kind of doing this, whether it's some kind of a management trick, whether it's a team effort, or whether it's an actual skill that you had to invoke back in NCL days. So you want to reflect a little bit on your current work and how NCL perhaps comes into it in your own environment.
Certainly. So as an incident responder, working together as a team, as Eric was mentioning, is very critical. Being able to mesh well with your team, communicate effectively is the name of the game, especially when you're in a real world scenario trying to combat cyber criminals and trying to mitigate threats. Yeah, those communications are extremely important. And having that cohesive bond with your team is the name of the game.
Great. By the way, we now have our other panelist who has joined, I believe. Ashley, is this true? Can we have Dexter come on as well? Hey, Dexter, welcome back. I know you were a bit challenged to come in, so welcome to the chat. Dexter, we've already started, and I asked each of the panelists to say a little bit about where they are today, what kind of job they hold, and mention when's the last time they played NCL and any favorite memories of NCL. Do you want to contribute to that discussion? No, we still can't hear you. Let's let our technical team try to connect.
Testing.
There we go. That's it. We just
You got
heard.
me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, just because we work in tech doesn't mean we are free from having problems with it. So, yeah. So sorry for being late, everybody. My name is Dexter Lem. I am a cybersecurity engineer at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. I work on the digital forensics and incident response team. And so kind of what all that means is half of my time I'm a incident responder and like digital forensics analyst, and then half the time I'm an engineer and I do like automation stuff. So some fond NCL memories. So I think the last time I played was probably like 2 semesters ago, I think. One or 2 semesters ago. And password cracking was always kind of my jam. I know I heard somebody else mention that as well, and that's kind of where all my fond memories are, is like trying to figure out the infrastructure behind that. Spinning up distributed like Hashcat stuff using my teammates' computers and like getting this all on a VPN and trying to figure out how to make all that kind of stuff work. Yeah, password cracking was kind of my jam in NCL.
Great. And I know that our listening audience is full of people who are totally exhausted from 2 sessions, both the individual session and the team session of NCL that just concluded. So I'm sure they're smiling and remembering their own capabilities and their own challenges of this past weekend. Eric, why don't I ask you to kind of reflect on your current work environment and things that might have aligned a little bit with NCL's experiences of the past?
Absolutely. So currently in my current role, like I said before, I'm a malware analyst. So basically that involves being an escalation point for incidents that require whether it's a website or a link or attachments of any kind or executables to be analyzed in a tier 3 setting in a laboratory where basically you try to, I mean, it's not a basic job, but it's where you try to get into the really the nitty gritty of exactly what does the application do, and it goes into a lot of code and things like that. And from the NCL experience, it when you were talking about like cryptography and like basic 64 encoding and decoding and those forms of really trying to how would you say um, using those forms of encoding to get past certain detection measures to, if there's scripts that are really encoded in certain areas that evade detection methods, that is very important to be aware of. Um, and in my career at DB, I was also on the SOC team, and when you look at a lot of log analysis and things like that, that's a huge, huge part of it as well. But yeah, that's a sum of it.
Eric, let me ask you one kind of follow-up question.
Sure.
You mentioned log analysis. Everybody's talking about AI and how it will or will not affect jobs like log analysis. Any, have you caught sight of that yet in your job?
I would say professionally, it's a little bit too early to tell. There's a lot of companies out there that, it's kind of an AI race, if you will. But in log analysis in particular, there are definitely AI components that can come up. You don't have to search as long, things like that, that'll really take away time, which can be very beneficial. But it's sometimes it's, do they want to do it now? Do they want to do it in the future? Do they have the budget to do it?
Yeah.
And some of that can be a very complicated discussion. So it's not exactly as simple as that, but I can definitely see in the future where that would be a conversation for sure.
Thanks for that response. Any others from the panel want to take that particular sub question or move on?
I will say some of the products or vendors that we partner with, we have been seeing AI models being built into their products to help with some log analysis, mainly from the query creation. Some of these systems have their own query languages, so they'll build in an AI model to essentially assist you with more effectively coming up with queries on the spot. That's what I've seen, at least.
Great. Thank you. Dan, why don't you answer and then keep going for your part of the original question?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say AI not directly impacted on my field, but it's definitely not something to sleep on. It's only going to get increased workloads with that progressing further and further into the field. Definitely to stay involved in that and keep track on it. So for my NCL experiences, no, sorry, can you repeat that question again to Eric?
On your today job, you're doing a lot of things. You're invoking a lot of both management, personal, and technology tools at your disposal. Do any of these kind of strike chords of memory from NCL days? For how you had to do X or Y or Z within NCL? Is that kind of be helpful to you in your current job?
So through my NCO experience, it definitely builds a greater well-rounded experience going through the platform. Not necessarily hands-on with my field of work. I'm working GRC, So, but it does build a bigger picture with everything that's involved. So having a better understanding of everything, it does help complete everything. So you have a grasp on what to look out for, what to watch out for, where we're at, where we've been, where we're going.
Yeah, great. Jeff, you want to come in on this discussion?
Well, I mean, as far as the work is concerned, because of the nature of my work, I don't really use AI a whole lot. As far as the connecting the dots and everything, that's kind of what I try to help our students do, is connect the dots between what they're doing in an NCL and other competitions in the real world. So that's a kind of a big part of what I do, is try to help them understand that these exercises can help you in X, Y, or Z. So that's how I help and use the curriculum, etc.
Yeah. And Dexter, from your experiences both at the lab and behind the desk, where do you sit?
Yeah, so I guess I'll answer like both of those. So as far as like AI goes, like we definitely see it like pop up in new tools. Some of the automation work that I'm doing, I was in a like a full day kind of meeting with the vendor for the product that we're using, and I thought that it was going to be kind of like a more like a support kind of session, like see what we've done and then give us tips on like how to use their platform, like the way they had designed it. Half of the meeting ended up being an AI sales pitch for their new like agentic thing, and so we kind of got like I don't know if bait and switched is the right word, but basically there's a lot of push in the race to use AI. Some products we've seen like that we personally have like use it well, um, but others kind of it's still in the like maybe not a refined product stage. So I think like stay sharp, like keep up to date on like what's happening, but I don't think that it's like necessarily going to replace me. Probably in the next couple of years. Fingers crossed. But that's kind of my take on the AI. As far as like how the NCL experiences like have helped me, I do pretty much like a different thing every single day as a responder, as an engineer. Um, I can do like basic log analysis all the way up to I do malware analysis occasionally. I'm building and implementing tools and just being able to kind of like focus on different things and as well as like context switching. Like, oh, I was working on this yesterday. Today I'm working on this. I'm not sure what I'm doing tomorrow. The NCL has like a really big um, it helped me a lot to like kind of learn that skill because I'd be focusing on one challenge. And then once you have the flags, okay, the challenge is done. Like forget everything you just did. I hope you took notes. Now work on something else. So that was kind of a very helpful experience that I use my day to day.
Very good. And just to bring in some of the listeners into this conversation, we had a comment from Siraj. Some of the people that I saw doing log analysis in the games got answers and no idea how the AI came to their answers. It's not that AI can do the analysis, it's that it's important to be able to understand what the tool is doing. And I think, speaking now to the faculty members who are listening and also on this panel, that's the challenge for faculty. And it's to understand that when you leave a university or community college, you're not going to have somebody telling you, don't use AI. You can do anything you want as long as it's legal or slightly. But the point is, will you understand the limitations of the answers you get? Will you understand how the AI got there? And so to be able to enrich what you did there. So it's a real challenge for the faculty side because the faculty usually are pretty set in their ways. They want to do what they know how to do, and AI is kind of brand new. Nobody knows. So it's a challenge for both sides of the classroom, both the students and the faculty themselves.
We're all beta testers of AI, really, when you come down to it.
That's it. We're beta testers of AI, and we'll find out society at large is beta testing the AI. So let's not get too philosophical here. and let's move on. I wanted to go to the next stage again because we have a lot of students, both from universities, community colleges, and some of them may be seniors getting ready to get a job or already have secured a job. Some of them may be still in their freshman, sophomore year, and but interested in making sure that they do land a job. I wanted to ask you to go back into your own career progression and tell me, when did you start thinking about getting a job? When you were in college or community college, university, technical school, whatever the environment was? Did you start like late? Did you start, oh my God, I'm graduating tomorrow and I don't have a job? Or did you start like 3 years out and you got recommendation letters? What was that path like? And if you had to do it again, would you change anything just to get to the job interview, just to get to the application, filling out the application? And then we'll talk a little bit about how the NCL experience helped in the application and in the interview process itself. Anybody want to start with that question? And is comfortable admitting?
Yes, I will say at the time, I was at college or in college, I was working as a busboy for a local restaurant. Did not really have the greatest direction in life. I found out I was going to be a soon-to-be father. I was expecting a little one and really had to turn on the jets. With that, the team that I had during the NCL, one of my team members, actually, he was looking for a new position in IT, but he had actually recommended me to that employer for the position. And just by word of mouth and that communication, that connection that I made, he was able to help me get my foot in the door there and then secure that position. And that's how I actually landed my first IT job, was a connection I made through the NCL. So.
That's a great story. Work the connections, right? Work the connections because they're special. Nobody else has them except
it's
you.
Not, it's that old adage. It's not always what you know, but who you know.
Yeah, yeah. Any other people that want to step up to this question? Yeah, Dan.
So I'll mention my story real quick. This is my second go around in college. Full-time worker, 2 children, and went back to school full time. And once I went back for my bachelor's, that's where I got involved with the NCL. But as far as tying into work, I would definitely foot stomp that the networking is what makes it really helps out a lot. Definitely reaching out to other folks. And I know NCL provides an option to have vendors reach out to you, have your resume uploaded, but don't just stop there. I mean, there's usually something in your local community you can get involved with different leading industry certifiers, CompTIA, IC Squared, just to name a few of the big hitters. But definitely networking, that helps out.
Great. Plus one on what we started. Anyone else want to jump in on this one? Yeah, Dexter, go for it.
Yeah, so I think networking is massive. I kind of ended up in my position through about like 2 internships. If some of you don't know, the Lawrence Livermore National Lab is a contractor for the Federal Department of Energy. But the summer before my last semester as a senior, I actually got a DOE internship on the East Coast at Savannah River National Lab. And so I went over there and did cyber stuff for the summer. And that was like a that had direct correlation to the NCL, because one of their recruiters had came to our school, and at the time I was president of like our cybersecurity club. And so we got to like interface with this professor or this recruiter and like host them. And we like showed them our NCL stuff and like, hey, our team had done like pretty well. Some of us are looking for, jobs or internships and stuff like that. And was able to leverage that. And then kind of in the middle of that internship, I ended up getting an internship much closer to home at Lawrence Livermore. So yeah, basically like network. Talk to people about NCL, put it on your resume, bring it up. If you have interviews and they don't ask you about it, bring it up. When they say, do you have a situation where you did XYZ? Those are pretty popular questions, like to get you to kind of explain your thought process. Reference NCL stuff. My teammates and I had this kind of challenge. I helped solve it this way. You know, I led group communication this way. Yeah, like just talk about it, bring it up. If people don't know about it, they want to know about it, I promise. So that's kind of my 2 cents anyway.
Great. Yeah. Anybody else want to jump into this? Yeah, Eric.
Sure. So basically, my final year in college was around the time that I was basically applying for basically applying for jobs, whether it was IT, cyber, whatever honestly was entry level in either area. I had been working at the time at I was a student assistant for tech services at the time. So I was already kind of having, from a student perspective, the experience of being on campus and working with students and faculty to fix problems. So that was a good, like, first step, beginner IT position that I was able to put on my resume. So that also helped. But then about a semester before I graduated, I was able to apply to a few more IT jobs. I applied to probably around 15 cyber jobs during that time as well. Thankfully, one of the IT jobs that was actually local here in Jacksonville, I went through their interview process and I was able to tell them that I'm very interested in IT, but I'm also I have a cyber background as well through NCL and things like that, and it really helped to boost my experience as doing both. And I want to say gave them something different than what the average person would be giving them, and so I think that helped us spark that first step into the workforce. But yeah, it was basically the goal of my professor and I at the time to land a job before I graduate. And in my opinion, that should be the goal every time, is to land a job before you graduate, because then that just makes your life, it's way easier to, put the work in before you graduate, and celebrate the graduation, but then at the same time celebrating that you don't have to now start searching. Celebrate the fact that you've landed a position, that you've signed a contract with the company, and that you're ready to move forward, and now you just continue to learn more. And that puts a lot of pressure off of doing that, puts a lot of pressure off you. And so I then was able to kickstart my career from there.
Great.
Very nice.
Great ideas. Yeah. Anyone else want to pick up on that, or shall we move? Yeah, Jeff,
I
go.
guess I'm the only one who hasn't said anything. So, like Dan, this cybersecurity was my second college journey, really. Before that, and going into the Wayback Machine, I worked at CompUSA in retail, selling computers. At the time, I couldn't qualify as being a trainer there. So I decided, well, if I can't qualify that way, I'll just start my own business. So that's what I did. I started a computer tutoring business and was basically allowed to hand out my card for people who didn't want to do the training. The paid training was expensive compared to just a couple hours worth of my time. So essentially, I got a clientele from that, and that clientele became my network. So I like to tell people about NCL and other CTFs and competitions like it. Your network is really only as good as the work people see you doing. You have to demonstrate your work, your ability. Without that demonstration, they're not going to give you a leap of faith, right? They're not going to put their own reputation on the line for you unless they know what you can do. And that's what NCL is about.
Good point. Good point. I'm going to switch topics now. You're now working at something. You're not a student, full-time student right now. You're already in the marketplace. I want you to look back into the NCL experience, and particularly there were 9 kind of major disciplines: open source intelligence, log analysis, network traffic analysis, forensics, and so on and so forth, that appear and are graded on, and students that complete NCL get those scorecard. They know where they are, their power rankings for the schools and the teams, and so on and so forth. I want to ask you the straight up question: how relevant is this today? Is it relevant that you had a chance to compete along, password cracking, forensics, and so on, that you had a chance to compare yourself nationally against someone and to have a document that says so? Is it relevant to your job today? I'm just wondering. Who wants to take that? Yeah, Dex.
So yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. My full-time position started 2 months ago. Before that, I interned for a year doing essentially the same thing. But and please, viewers, I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to come off any kind of way like that. My team and myself personally have done very well in the NCL. And so when I was in my job interview, I got to say here's these score reports. My club team from my school has been in the top 3 teams the past 5 semesters. We've won the whole NCL twice. If you make it if you take the NCL seriously and are competitive and are really striving to do your best, and you can turn around and show your potential employers hey, I'm not trying to brag, but I think I'm the best candidate for this job, and here's how I can prove it. Personally, it was helpful.
So it's not time to be bashful if you've got the stuff to back it up. And the good news is NCL does give you detailed backup. It gives you actual documented proof that you're good at something. And to me, going back 12 years ago when we first started NCL 13 years ago, that was the objective. The objective was to be able to replicate something for all the nation, but with backups to prove excellence in competition. Who else wants to take that up? Anybody? Yeah, Eric, go.
Yeah, just in kind of piggybacking off what Dexter just mentioned, and I've been kind of thinking about it lately. It's hard for, if you're in a job interview, they may or may not know, they may or may not know what NCL is, but they know what a CTF is most of the time. And so if you go into the job interview and you say, hey, I got this number in log analysis, they probably don't know what that means. But if you say, I did this with this tool, accomplishing this objective in log analysis, and I've done this with this tool, and I've done that, and actually give real examples, that's the meat right there, because that's more valuable to them, because they're saying, oh, you've utilized Hashcat and have a Kali Linux experience to password crack because you've used successful commands to crack about 30 hashes. That's really good. Or then that just was an example off the top of my head. And so that's wording it that way helps a lot, because it's not just, obviously, if you've done that well in NCL, you have all the way to brag anytime you want. That's awesome. But then for people that may be in the middle of the rankings and things like that, don't take that as a negative thing. Take it as, get what you can out of it, and then use that to strengthen your resume a lot more, regarding, the meat and, the technicalities and the tools you can mention.
Yeah. And let me just embellish that for a minute. Most of the kids that go through NCL are very focused on the technology side, the technical side, being able to do something, to crack something. The ability to explain what it is that you did and the importance of what you did to, let's say, a C-suite person, like the CFO of the company, chief financial officer, or the chief administrative officer of the company, is different. And many of you will not have a chance to address a C-suite person. But if you do, you got to be able to quickly switch orientation. And instead of simply staying on the technology accomplishment, you got to be able to go beyond that. And I think interviewers look for the ability to switch lanes and go from technical to management to policy with ease. Now, it may be asking a lot for someone who hasn't been in business, but that's something to aspire to. That's something to look at some YouTube videos on, to establish comfort with explaining something. This is what both Eric and Dexter were implying, being able to explain what you did and being able to back it up and being able to do it in the context of the job itself. Other comments, Alexander, anything to contribute here?
Yeah, I would say, like Eric was mentioning, like, truthfully, when I participated in the NCL, I would say I did subpar, is pretty mediocre score. There were areas I excelled at. There were other areas that I did struggle with. That being said, those skills that you're learning throughout that trial and error and the problem solving, they do definitely hold weight in the real world. For instance, like obfuscation, being able to identify like an obfuscated payload, being able to work out what it is doing. Those skills definitely can be spoken to in a job interview setting, and employers do look for that. As you were saying, like with the being able to switch between the technical to the management and having those soft skills to do so are important.
Great. Other contributions here, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, just to take it back a little bit more from the competition. So of course, hindsight's 100% clear. My biggest regret was not spending more time in the gymnasium, in the gym. That will definitely build a baseline foundation on learning all these concepts. And then once you know all this, you can definitely have that perfect conversation with someone, knowing your audience, how to walk through it, how to talk about it, how to break it down.
Yeah. Great. Any other comments, Jeff?
I think one thing Dan didn't mention is paying it forward. And Dan has done that with TitanSec, playing a role in TitanSec by showing other students the way, and helping them to connect the dots on their own as well. So I think that is, at least from my aspect as an advisor, just as important to keep that moving forward. So essentially, it kind of goes back to what you said, Costis. When you can explain something in plain terms to somebody else who doesn't know what you know, that tells an employer that you're capable of communicating a complex subject to someone who doesn't understand the complexities, right?
Right. So time is moving on. I've got two more questions for you. One is a real question. The other one will be a wrap up. Tell me in 60 seconds, whatever it is that you want to tell the audience. The last question before that wrap up question is this: if you look back and had the magic wand to have taken NCL, for those of you that played NCL, and you were missing something that would have been great to have given what you're currently experiencing at the work site, would you have any recommendations to NCL, to Cyber Skyline, who runs the game so well? Would you have any recommendations for us? What might have been missing that we could improve the game, given what you see today in your work environment? I know it's a heavy lift, but why doesn't somebody try to answer? Yeah.
I can start. So one thing I feel like is missing a little bit is maybe so I did some digital forensics for a while, and one of the big tools we used was Axiom from Magnet Forensics. And exposure to tools like that is few and far between for students, unfortunately. So I'd like to see something akin to that, at least, if it's not exactly with Magnet Axiom, similar software, enterprise level software that goes into legal hands. Lawyers use it. They want reports from Axiom all the time. So that would be my suggestion.
Thanks for that, Jeff. Others?
I think we just lost you, Costis.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can talk about this a little bit. So, one big thing for me would be kind of the importance of blue team kind of work. It is gone over in the log analysis and the forensics and the network traffic analysis, but just kind of like maybe having some kind of not even new challenges or new categories, but having like a classification and say like, okay, this kind of work would maybe fit into this kind of role, and something kind of like along those lines. I know that's a very rough like answer, but when I first started doing NCL, like I was already taking cybersecurity classes. I kind of knew what cybersecurity was, but there's a lot of very like appealing kind of things, at least for me, like, oh, malware analysis, password cracking, kind of like privilege escalation, the binary like enumeration and exploitation stuff. All that was like super interesting, but I use like a fraction of that in my like day job. It's all like most of the jobs, unless you're somebody like very special, coming right out of college are blue team kind of work. You're gonna like SOC analyst, maybe you're working in GRC, maybe you're doing like you could be doing a lot of like different roles in IT. Not everything is kind of like red team and kind of that category. So just really focusing on like, you know, these are the blue team roles where maybe like these kind of challenges like might be in play or might show up in something like that. But just kind of like emphasizing that, you know, blue team is like really important too. Even though a lot of the challenges kind of are that subject material, just really saying like, hey, this is something you might see in this role or something along those lines.
Great. Thanks, Dexter. Other comments? Run dry on this one? All right. So I guess that means that NCL is perfect. not much to change. But we'll certainly take note of what the two comments were so far. Let me ask the back room here, are there any questions in the chat that perhaps our panel should be addressing? Because we're coming up, we have another 10 minutes or so, and now's the time to, okay, so here's Matt. Do you have any recommendations for newer clubs trying to balance new members being able to learn and still have the club be competitive in the team games? In other words, you know, excellence versus depth. Go ahead. Who wants to take it, especially those that have experience from clubs?
I would say that that's completely individually based. So our students who compete, I tell them, look, this club is as useful as you make it. So when you want to compete, you compete and you get other people to compete with you as well. So I would encourage you to encourage other students to join you.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll piggyback with Jeff on there. We went through the same experience. You can lead the horse to water. Can you make it drink the water? So I would say this: if you are, so we had an interesting year. It was definitely a build-up year for our club. Definitely record what you're doing as far as these competitions go. Leave like a legacy, so when someone comes in and picks up the torch, they run forward. They have your experience on what you went through, what CTFs you went through, what can you expect, different competitions throughout the year. NCL comes in twice. We did a few other ones in person. We did a few online. We traveled. Not I personally, but the club did. So, and then as far as balancing for new members, I mean, you got to lead by example. They'll see you doing it. If you can invite them out. I know we were very heavy on Discord. A lot of people are. Maybe sometimes just like an email. Hey, we're doing this tomorrow night. It'd be cool if you just hang out for us for an hour. You know, and just check it out. You don't have to do anything. Just hang out and you can learn something.
Great. Others? Yeah.
So I can talk to this one a little bit too. I luckily I was able to be kind of club president for our cybersecurity club at my college for I think a little about 2.5 years. And so the way we kind of tackled this was like weekly club meetings that were basically open to everybody. We didn't have at the time didn't have any kind of dedicated cybersecurity like minors, majors, etc. It was all like computer science and IT. But there was like a good amount of students that were very interested in it. So even though kind of the contents of our like meetings were maybe focused on like, okay, this is how you can like solve these kinds of challenges or like go learn these kinds of tools, kind of like of that nature, like our club meetings were completely open. And I think we recorded like maybe half of them. I don't think we got everything recorded, but yeah, just bringing new members in and just being like super open about like no question is kind of off limits mentality. Just ask and we'll do our best to explain like everything we can. As far as like the being competitive aspect, we were like while we were really trying to build people up, we also we kind of built our team in a more competitive manner where like team placement for our main club team was based off of like individual rankings at our school. So you kind of got like first pass because we were trying to be super competitive. And so if people didn't want it, it kind of went to the next in line, the option to join. And we also had multiple teams and like really encouraged other teams either for fun or to be competitive too. And yeah, but just kind of like really having like a supportive community and just really being open. Even if you ended up not competing on the same team, like everything that went up to the competition was like as a whole group. And then once we broke into teams, then, you know, we were siloed, but just being really open with your members and just really trying to teach everybody.
Thanks for that. So we're coming to the end here. I'm going to ask each of you, I'll call you out as I see you on my screen. Jeff, preparation, you're first on my screen, to basically give us a minute's worth of answer to the question, which was the title of the event. I want to make sure we didn't skip anything. The title of the event was Mission Ready, Translating NCL Experience into Real World Impact. So given that that was the title, and given that we've already had a 45-minute fantastic discussion by each and every one of you, Jeff, anything to add or to say goodbye to the listeners? So 1 minute for each person. Jeff.
I mean, not bragging or anything, but I feel like we covered it pretty well. So yeah, I mean, you're translating work into experience that's verifiable, right? So NCL provides the verification, you provide the experience. That's
Very
pretty
good.
much
That's a good vision.
it in a nutshell.
Very good. Eric, you're next on my screen.
Sounds good. You know, Jeff said it very well right there. There's not a whole lot I can say really from my perspective to add on to that, but what I will try to add is, yeah, it's like the bridge from the classroom to the workforce. And every season you go on that NCL experience is another step you take on that bridge. And networking, like everyone has said before, is huge, and that's what NCL really magnifies, is communication with your coaches, communication with your classmates while you're competing with the other schools through teams and individually and things like that. It's a very and just speaking from someone who kind of like Dexter, I was president of our club for about a year. I helped create it with my professor, and it's a really unique experience that not a lot of industries have, and it's something that will only get better in the future because that's where the world's going. And network, be good teamwork, and the club also reinforces mentorship. That's a huge skill to have, especially in the workforce, because once you're good at what you do, they'll start pointing at other people with you and saying, all right, now go teach him, now go teach her. And so that's a very good foundation level to have at a club.
Very good. Next on my screen is Alexander.
Yeah, I would say the problem solving and that determination, the digging deep on the challenges whenever you feel like you're hitting a brick wall and you got to really dig in deep to keep pushing through to get the answers. I mean, that will follow you into the workplace. There's many a times that I might not have the answer right now, but through determination, I will get to it. Whether that's myself or somebody on my team assisting. Again, I can't stress enough that those problem solving skills will transition and follow you into the workplace.
Great. Thanks, Alexander. Dan, you're the penultimate.
So I will say this for the NCL experience, being mission ready. If you're doing cyber, you are definitely you are ready. You already have a great grasp on IT, troubleshooting, working throughout problems. So, and then don't stop here at NCL. It builds it's a good stepping stone to continue learning. Even once you're done with college and get your degree and move on and work, the learning really doesn't stop. There's always going to be new advancements. Like AI right now is the biggest push. I mean, you talk about AI 5 years ago, I was like, oh, you mean like from Terminator? Yeah, all right. But definitely just keep learning, and this was a great experience.
Great. Thanks, Dan. And last but not least, Dexter.
Yeah, so I don't really have anything new to add. I'll just kind of reference what everybody else has said so far. Like, keep your connections up. The people you've met during NCL and other like cybersecurity competitions, those are like very valuable connections. Email them, message them on LinkedIn, talk to them on Discord. Like, keep your network alive for sure. And yeah, just keep kind of working at it. If you're not where you want to be right now, play the NCL another semester, figure out the areas that maybe you're weak in and you need to grow in, and then between competitions you can go back and kind of improve those areas. And when you're ready to graduate and get into the workforce, like you'll be there, you'll be set. So
great. Well, we've come to the end. We've got a couple minutes. First of all, a conversation from the back room that folks who want to can, of course, keep the conversation going on our Discourse channel. So it's on the chat for those of you that want to click on and continue conversations about any one topic. Secondly, some of the questions that were raised are really great questions. Haven't had a chance to address them all. But we do have some more events coming this week. And I know that Emily and Ashley will probably raise them with Franz and others in Cyber Skyline because they really fit Cyber Skyline's operational management of the NCL much better. So, and then thirdly, I want to thank each and every one of you for participating in this event. We want to make sure that the exhausted warriors from this past weekend have something to think about and something practical to begin to prepare for their entry into the workplace. And I think you've done a great job of prepping them for this next leap. So with that in mind, I'm going to ask Emily to come back online to tell us a little bit about what's in store for us this week.
Great. Thanks so much, Costis. And thank you for everyone that shared today. Incredibly inspiring, very encouraging. And as the comments have shared, also very motivating. So thank you all for your time. And thank you, Costis, for navigating us through some really wonderful conversations. But just like Costis says, we have some awesome NCL Spirit Week events that are going to be continuing the rest of the week. So tomorrow we're all taking a break. Hopefully everyone enjoys their Veterans Day. And we are going to be back on Wednesday with the individual and team game challenge walkthrough. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have members of the Cyber Skyline engineering team present, as well as a member of CrowdStrike. Dylan Watson is going to join our team, and they're going to be going through some challenges and show you kind of the methodology behind it, as well as answering questions. On Thursday, on November 11th at 3 p.m. Eastern, we are going to also have an event from Passion to Profession, Cyber Career Journeys. Tiberius will be joining us specifically for that event, as well as some other really amazing individuals representing different roles in cybersecurity. So please join us for that. And then on Friday, we are going to be wrapping up Spirit Week with the award ceremony at 7 p.m. This is all going to be kind of the accumulation of all the wonderful things that you all have been doing for the fall season. We're excited to be able to share the winners and celebrate the community. Keep in mind that you can register for any of the events. If you can't join us live, no problem. We will have recordings of all the events. And we really appreciate you all taking your time to join us. These events are specifically for the NCL community to help you all get into those cyber careers and to support you the best that we can. So once again, thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. And please sign up to join us for the award ceremony. I buried the lead here. John Hammond is going to be joining us for the award ceremony. So we're incredibly thrilled to have him join us. And make sure you register for that event so you'll be able to hear his wonderful presentation. All right. Well, everyone have a fantastic afternoon, and thank you for joining us.